Hi there, welcome to Painting Queer History, where I draw portraits of historical figures while telling you about their lives. This episode we'll be talking about Dr. Margaret Chung, aka Mom Chung, aka Mama Chung. Margaret Chung was born in 1889 in Santa Barbara, California, to devout Christian parents, the eldest child of 11. From a young age, Chung was interested in being a medical missionary. Quote, "My first love was surgery. As a very young child, having no dolls or toys to play with, I would frequently take banana peels or cabbage stems and make believe I was operating on them." End quote. The family moved to LA in 1902. As a teenager, Margaret Chung was very active in the community and academics. She participated in the Women's Auxiliary League of the Chinese American League of Justice in Los Angeles, was a member of the Chinese Protective Association, the Chinese Women's Reform Club, and the Willard Literary Society. Articles were written about her poetry as a teenager, as well as her work in favor of women's suffrage. A scholarship from selling LA Times subscriptions and money from speech and literary competitions helped fund her college education. Margaret Chung would work multiple jobs throughout school as a cafeteria worker and salesman. Later, she was one of the few women in the USC College of Physicians and Surgeons and is believed to be the first Chinese American woman to become a physician. While in medical college, Chung dressed in a masculine fashion and went by the name Mike. Also, while in school, she gave health services to Chinese Americans who were refused services in Western medical centers. After graduating with an MD in 1916, her application for medical missionary work, her childhood dream, was denied 3 times on the basis of her race. Instead, she moved to Chicago and worked as a nurse and completed internships and residencies in surgery and psychiatry. While there, Margaret Chung was, quote, "a favorite with nurses and interns to the degree that the hospital, for the first time, made a ruling that 2 people must not sleep in a single bed." End quote. This is one of the earlier hints of Chung's sexuality. After 2 years in Illinois, Chung was able to get a position as a plastic surgeon at Santa Fe Railroad Hospital in LA. She also treated celebrities and musicians in her private practice, allowing her to buy a home and getting her a reputation as a surgeon to the stars. In 1922, Dr. Chung moved to San Francisco to open a private practice in Chinatown, hoping to help Chinese women receive health care. However, many were suspicious of her, especially with the rumors of her sexuality. Chung remained popular with white patients, especially white celebrities, who viewed her status as an outsider to be their benefit. Lesbians in particular were noted to have felt safe around her. Quote, "While Chung never claimed that label, she did have several romantic and intimate relationships with women, including Gidlow and the entertainer Sophie Tucker. Intent on protecting herself from damaging rumors about her sexuality, she traveled outside Chinatown to frequent bars, speakeasies, and cafes that were formed a growing queer subculture in San Francisco's North Beach neighborhood." End quote. In 1925, after years of effort, Dr. Chung helped create San Francisco Chinese Hospital, where she led the OBGYN and pediatrics units as one of the 4 department heads. Throughout her career in San Francisco, she was known as a patron of the arts, attending opening nights in style in a gown and ermine coat. Conductors, musicians, actors, and artists were frequent guests at her house for late supper. The invasion of China by Japan would change much of her life. With increased sympathy for Chinese people, some pilots reached out asking if she would help them get a commission in the Chinese military. She could not, but she invited them for dinner. After many meals and bonding, jokes were made that the men felt like she was their mother, and she started calling them her fair-haired bastards. The tradition would grow over the course of the war, and by the end she would have over 1,500 honorary children calling her Mom Chung or Mama Chung, and supposedly never forgot a name. Aviators persisted in being known as her fair-haired bastards, while submarine men were golden dolphins, and all others were called Kiwis, as they were flightless. Kiwis also included her non-military adopted sons, who were often actors, musicians, or stars. There were a few women pilots among her bastards as well. At one point, she adopted the entire VF-2 squadron known as the Rippers, whose symbol was a Chinese dragon. Her adopted family received media coverage during the war as an example of patriotism. Her own requests to serve as a frontline surgeon were denied, partly because of her gender and partly because they wanted her to be a military recruiter. Dr. Chung recruited American pilots from the Air Force, Marines, and Navies for the first American volunteer group, better known as the Flying Tigers, which would fight under Chinese colors during the war and often painted the noses of their fighter planes with teeth. This was unofficially financed by the Chinese government. Dr. Chung wanted women to be able to help with the war effort. She utilized her network of military sons and celebrity connections from being a plastic surgeon in order to lobby for the legislation that created the WAVES, Women Accepted for Volunteer Emergency Service, a Reserve Corps woman serving in the Navy. This was one of the first times that American women could serve outside of nursing in a recognized way, and also created female officers to oversee each other. Her own application for the WAVES was rejected because of her race and suspected sexuality. Her sons and community still tried to honor her, sending her photos and souvenirs, including bits of aircraft from famous disasters. At least 3 flying fortresses were named Mama Chung, with sequential Roman numerals to differentiate them. She was likely the inspiration for Dr. Ling in the 1939 movie King of Chinatown, as portrayed by Anna May Wong. Mom Chung was also featured in Real Heroes comic books during the war as a patriotic figure. She retired from medicine a decade after the war, and her sons bought her a house in Marin County. Dr. Margaret Chung died of cancer in 1959 and had admirals and military heroes as her pallbearers. In present day, she has not been forgotten. In 2012, her plaque was added to the Legacy Walk in Chicago, and in 2013, San Francisco Municipal Railway Central Subway had a tunnel boring machine named Mom Chung in her honor. I leave you with this quote from Dr. Chung from the LA Times in 1939. Quote, "Any woman surgeon bucks heavy odds of lay prejudice and professional resentment at the usurpation of what many consider to be a man's indisputed field, and when that woman is an American of Chinese descent, she is granted even fewer mistakes and less leisure." End quote. Please comment to let me know if you like the portrait, if you have any other interesting facts about Dr. Chung, or if there's a figure in LGBTQ plus history that you want me to cover next. If you want to see more of this series, then I'd recommend subscribing so you see them as they come out. Best wishes. Bye!